Hello, Actonians. I am Galen Etlin, PR manager for Acton Software, and excited to welcome Jeff Coleman, our new Chief Customer Officer for Acton. Thank you so much for taking time today.
It's nice to be here.
Absolutely. Well, before we get started here, sure, kind of a quick couple sentences about your experience and how you got here.
Well, gosh, I started off back in the Bay Area. I was working for a large financial services company doing IT, web development, and kind of did a bunch of stuff there, but then really wanted to move to Portland. So back in 2010, found a job at Jive Software. I know a bunch of people from Jive have ended up at Acton over the years. From Jive, ended up at SurveyMonkey, where I spent about 7.5 years running and building out the customer success function. Spent the last year or so at Clearbit, which is a marketing data provider some people might be familiar with. And then had the opportunity to come to Acton. Kate reached out and kind of told me about the opportunity, told me about what was going on, and sort of really, I think all the really exciting things that have been happening, sort of the progress that's really been happening over the last couple of years.
Tell us about what you're most excited about.
Uh, there's a lot of things. I think during the interview process, I got to meet with a number of different people. Some of the most impactful calls, though, and some of the most impactful moments were really kind of hearing about the customer centricity, the way that Acton kind of really values customers, thinks about customers, responds to customers. And I think where that was most kind of obvious and really lived out was sort of the way that engineering responds. And so the customer engineering team, the way that they've been focusing on the backlog and taking input from support and other teams to really, what is it we need to go and do to make the customer experience better? That's really cool. So I'm pretty excited to see how that actually works in real life and to have an opportunity to start to influence maybe, how that even goes beyond where you are today.
There's a lot of different roles at this company. For people who are not familiar, what exactly will your role entail?
Pretty much whatever Kate tells me, I think. But I think for me, it's an opportunity to really just be a representative for the customers within the organization to make sure that everything that we're doing stays centered on, what is actually driving value for customers. Are they able to use the technology that we're deploying? Are they able to get that value that they're looking for? And ultimately, that leads to renewals.
You may have touched on it there, but what sort of challenges do you anticipate facing, or maybe what goals do you have as you step into this new role?
And then just start to absorb, to be a sponge. And I'll be doing that by trying to connect with the individuals who are, here, who have had experience connecting with customers, connecting with, the executive team members and other parts of the organization, just trying to figure out like what's going on. And then from that, I think then I start to figure out where the challenges, really where the opportunities, how do we build on our strengths and use that to go forward.
Finally here, what makes Jeff Coleman tick outside of work?
Probably right now, baseball and beer are kind of my two things these days. I've been brewing for a long time, but really kind of got back into it in 2019, and then it just happened to be this lovely pandemic time where I had a lot of time to myself where I could continue brewing. So I've been enjoying that for a while now. And then baseball, my son's been playing for years, and so it's been a lot of fun to coach. But I really like baseball because I think it's a sport that I think really extends beyond kind of like some of the other sports that are available to us here in America. It's stats. It's about kind of the number of times you actually engage, just the way that the game works. There's so many different levels that I think it actually, you'll hear a lot of sports analogies, I'm afraid, and many of them will be from baseball, very few basketball. But I think baseball really lends itself to kind of an understanding of a broader environment. So I love baseball. I love brewing, and then hanging out with family and just being able to spend time working in the yard, working on projects, going to events and different things with the kids. So that's my life normally.
Well, Jeff, so good getting to know you. Thank you so much for your time. Looking forward to when you start.